Welcome to NarrativeNook audio tales where enchanted stories come to life. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe, like and share to support our channel. Enjoy listening.
Yeah, Zane's people have already taken control of those individuals. We're just waiting for the right moment to make our move. This resolved one of her concerns. The timing should be about right, Jared commented, his eyes narrowing slightly. I think Doretta is getting impatient and might make a move soon, Nicole speculated. Jared also felt this was very likely and reminded her, remember to tell me if anything happens. I won't be in any trouble, and there's nothing I need to do, Nicole said, looking at Jared with a smile. Gently squeezing Nicole's hand, Jared looked at her, his gaze deep. Upon returning to the Riddle residence, the two entered the living room. Seeing Gloria organizing some photo albums, Nicole asked curiously, Mom, what are you looking at? These are the pre-wedding photo album samples Emma and I chose today. We're gonna hand them over to Stanley and Tia when they're back so they can choose their own, Gloria explained. Emma went with you? Why didn't you keep her for dinner? Nicole asked instinctively. She had invited Patricia to dinner today, so she was in a hurry to get home. I couldn't keep her, Gloria said with a laugh. One could imagine the happy look on Emma's face when she left, but Nicole frowned slightly. She then changed the subject. Let me see the samples you've chosen. Come, give us your input, Gloria said, not thinking much of it, and they started discussing the samples. Nicole didn't want to dwell too much on Patricia and Ella's relationship. She knew Patricia cared about Ella, but she wasn't sure about Patricia's choices. Patricia had always been hesitant about committing to a relationship with Ella, so Nicole felt it wasn't her place to say anything. After a while, Stanley and Tia returned with Nolan and Lana. When they came in, Nolan and Lana greeted everyone politely before walking over to the coffee table, curiously asking, "What's this?" These are samples of pre-wedding photos, Gloria explained briefly. She then turned to Stanley and Tia and added, take a look and choose what you like. Tia, blushing, glanced at Stanley. After they exchanged a look, Stanley agreed, okay, we got it. As they gathered the photo samples, Stanley said, Mom, we're going to the backyard. Take your time choosing, Gloria reminded them. We're going to head off now, Tia said, her voice soft and tinged with shyness. Watching them leave, Gloria's eyes filled with contentment. Everyone's here, Daniel said as he entered, smiling at the group. Grandpa, Nolan and Lana called out sweetly. Daniel responded with a loving smile, striding over to the couch. Gloria glanced at Daniel and asked, how's Benjamin doing? He's fine, no need to worry, Daniel replied. With you all visiting him often, his mood should be quite good. Even if certain things can't be undone, having company could prevent one from dwelling on negative thoughts. Daniel nodded, then turned to Nicole and asked, is the situation nearing a conclusion? Did Grandpa ask? Nicole pondered briefly before responding. Yes, Grandpa only mentioned it in passing, but I guess he might know something. Daniel thought that was probably why Benjamin suddenly brought it up. Nicole's expression showed she had a moment of insight. Yes, we're making some progress, but we're still waiting for the right moment. Nicole thought Benjamin must have known something, which was why he asked Daniel. You can trust us to handle it, so you don't need to feel any pressure, Daniel reassured Nicole, indicating that Benjamin was asking out of concern and nothing more. Nicole nodded. Well, take care of it as quickly as possible. Good. Daniel then changed the subject. Let's have dinner then. Okay, everyone agreed, and they all headed toward the dining room. Seeing Nolan not staying to watch TV but heading upstairs instead, Lana couldn't help asking, aren't you watching TV? No, I've got things to do, Nolan said, already stepping up the stairs. Oh. Lana didn't think much of it and turned on the TV to watch. Nicole glanced over upon hearing this, a thoughtful look crossing her eyes. Meanwhile, Ella and Patricia had just arrived at Ella's home. They were late because Patricia had insisted on buying some gifts. Carrying those gifts, Patricia politely greeted, "Hi, Mr. Riddle, Mrs. Riddle. Why bring gifts? We're already happy with your visit. You mustn't buy gifts next time," Emma told Patricia, pulling her aside. "It's the least I could do, considering the trouble I've caused," Patricia said, a bit embarrassed. "It's no trouble at all. Besides, we're practically family now, so don't be shy," Emma said, then turned to Ella with a warning look. "You should bring Patricia here more often, but make sure she doesn't buy anything next time." "Oh," was all Ella could respond, feeling resigned since that would require Patricia to listen to him. "Mrs. Riddle, has Doretta not come back yet?" Patricia shifted the topic, sensing a bit of awkwardness. Emma responded, "She called earlier to say she was tied up with something and would be back late, telling us not to wait for her." When Patricia heard this, her eyes narrowed slightly. What could Doretta possibly be up to? Ella had already asked, "Mom, she doesn't really know anyone here. What could she possibly be busy with?" "I'm not sure," she didn't say. Her voice was quite soft. "I thought she was at the office." But now Ella and Patricia had returned. It seemed unlikely Doretta was working late. Ella glanced at Patricia, a flicker of something crossing his eyes. Patricia nodded at him, then stood up, saying, "Mrs. Riddle, I'm going to use the restroom." "Sure, go ahead," Emma said with a smile. Ella watched Patricia head to the restroom, knowing she was likely sending a message. He then started chatting with Emma and Dexter. "Mom, what do you know about Doretta?" "Not much, really. After all, we haven't been in contact for many years." Emma was puzzled. "Why are you suddenly asking about Doretta?" "Oh, just asking," Ella replied. Dexter, however, pressed, "Is she having trouble adapting at the company?" "No, it's really just a casual question. After all, she's my cousin, and I just wanted to know more about her." Ella scratched his head, smiling goofily. "Oh, I thought something might have happened to her at Bay Corp," Dexter sighed in relief. In truth, Dexter wasn't entirely supportive of Doretta joining the company. It was just that, since she was Emma's relative, he felt it wasn't his place to say much. Dexter thought that since Doretta had just graduated without much work or management experience, he wouldn't have minded if she started from the bottom. However, she was placed in some important roles. "I just found out she's quite capable, so I was curious," Ella said, relieved that his parents didn't become suspicious. He still didn't want Doretta's matters to affect them, so he preferred to keep it hidden. Meanwhile, Patricia quickly sent out a message. If Doretta made any moves tonight, they would receive a notification. Returning to the living room, Emma invited Patricia to the dining room, and the group started their dinner. Meanwhile, at the Riddle residence, everyone went upstairs to rest after dinner. Jared went back to his room to deal with some urgent work, while Nicole headed to Nolan's room. Lana was quietly reading a book, while Nolan was sitting in front of his computer. "Mommy." Seeing Nicole enter, Lana put down her book and approached her. Nicole, with Lana in tow, went over to Nolan. "What are you doing?" Nicole asked Nolan. "I'm researching some information," Nolan replied, his gaze still fixed on the computer screen, his hand controlling the mouse and clicking occasionally. "Information." Nicole raised her eyebrows slightly and looked at Nolan's screen. Seeing he was actually researching Everett's company, she couldn't help but shake her head slightly. She had noticed Nolan's expression was a bit odd earlier and knew he was up to something. "Mommy, it looks like Uncle Everett's company has some weaknesses. I'm not sure why he's so confident. Is he depending on something, or is it a trap?" Nolan asked Nicole curiously. He had found a lot of information and even hacked into Everett's company's internal database. However, he found some anomalies and didn't dare to act on them, quietly erasing his tracks before logging out. Affectionately stroking Nolan's head, Nicole spoke softly. "He has a very skilled hacker by his side, so it's best if you don't act rashly. I haven't, I just thought it was strange, so I didn't do anything, Nolan assured her earnestly, nodding. He understood the importance of caution in this matter, not wanting to inadvertently cause trouble for Nicole. Nicole smiled. Then tell Mommy, what else did you find? Nothing else, I didn't find any concrete evidence, Nolan sighed. He had actually made some minor discoveries but chose not to share them with Nicole yet. He hadn't fully understood them himself and wasn't sure how to explain them to Nicole. Moreover, since those oddities lacked solid evidence, he felt it was best to remain silent for now, avoiding any actions. Sensing Nolan's thoughts, Nicole patted his shoulder. If you decide you want to do something, remember you must tell me first. Her main concern wasn't the investigation, but Nolan's safety. Okay. Nolan nodded vigorously, promising Nicole. Feeling somewhat reassured, Nicole stroked Nolan's head. It's getting late, time for bed. After speaking, Nicole picked up Lana. Nolan, go to sleep by yourself. I will take your sister back to her room. Okay. Nolan shut down the computer and took his pajamas to the bathroom. Nicole left Nolan's room with a satisfied smile, taking Lana with her. The next day dawned bright and sunny. Early in the morning, just as Nicole had arrived at her office, she received a call from Patricia. Ms. Riddle, Doretta has made a move. Patricia's voice was somewhat somber. Mr. Royce, as expected, Nicole has leveraged the power of the crests, enlisting the aid of several families to navigate through this crisis, Lon said softly. Lawrence responded nonchalantly, seemingly unsurprised. Everett has been very quiet. Wonder what he's planning. Should we make our move? Lon inquired. Leaning against the couch, Lawrence replied calmly. No rush, the real show hasn't started yet. What do you mean, sir? Lon was somewhat puzzled. Do you really think Nicole would ignore the matter with Ella? Lawrence countered. Lon furrowed his brows. Patricia has been at Bay Corp, and if she hasn't found anything, it must be because Doretta has hidden it too well. He felt that Nicole wasn't ignoring the issue. It was just that Doretta had hidden it too deeply. No, Patricia's capabilities aren't that weak. More importantly, they should know that the seal is missing, yet they've kept it quiet. That indicates there's a problem. Should we warn Everett? Lon was somewhat concerned. Lawrence waved his hand dismissively. No need. He was merely speculating and couldn't be sure of anything. So, he just wanted to see what Nicole was really up to. But what if? Lon was genuinely worried. If this was truly Nicole's maneuver, then Everett might be in for a disastrous defeat. If they didn't warn Everett now and Everett ended up failing, they would be exposed. As long as Everett isn't beyond redemption, we shouldn't intervene. Lawrence had already helped Everett in the shadows last time, and Nicole must have noticed. He couldn't act rashly again. Lawrence thought to himself, Everett still seemed capable, so he decided to let him face his challenges alone. If Everett truly started to fail, Lawrence might step in to help. As long as Everett was safe, that was sufficient. For Lawrence, preserving Everett was crucial to continuing his schemes in the shadows without attracting attention. Yes, sir, Lon responded, understanding Lawrence's concerns and plans. The next day dawned bright and sunny, and Nicole arrived at the company as usual. How's it going? Still no movement from Everett. Lulu asked Nicole. With a slight smile, Nicole replied, it should be soon. Everett no longer had any other way out. Having received the seal from Doretta, he was probably eager to use it to threaten Ella by now. Can Patricia and the others handle it? Lulu was a bit worried, unsure if they should seek additional help. They can. Moreover, they absolutely couldn't show themselves now. If she went to Bay Corp at this moment, Everett might become aware of their actions. That's good then, Lulu nodded. Nicole looked up at Lulu. How about on your end? Oh, the issues with several companies have been resolved, and I've already arranged for project managers to discuss further. Everything should be back to normal in the next few days. Lulu responded with a bit more seriousness. Nicole nodded in satisfaction. Glad everything was going smoothly. I'll get back to my work then, Lulu said, seeing there were no further instructions from Nicole. Sure, let's have lunch together, Nicole smiled, knowing Lulu had been overwhelmed with work lately and letting her go ahead with her tasks. I'll come find you for lunch. Lulu nodded, then turned and left. Nicole leaned back in her chair. Her gaze deepened. Everett must be aware of yesterday's events by now, and Doretta should have given him the seal. He will likely take action soon. Meanwhile, at Bay Corp, Ella noticed Doretta arriving at work as usual, looking relaxed as if nothing had happened, which made him feel uneasy. He stood up and went to Patricia's office, asking her, "Do you think something might be wrong? What kind of problem could there be?" Patricia raised an eyebrow in inquiry. The seal was commissioned by him, and he was more than clear about that. Moreover, he was now certain that Doretta had taken it, and by this point, it was likely already in Everett's hands. Understanding Patricia's implication, Ella sighed. I get it, but Doretta's behavior is just too odd. That's why he was feeling unsettled. Could it be that Doretta discovered something and didn't hand over the seal to Everett? Patricia couldn't help but roll her eyes at him. Acting like this is more likely to make her suspicious, you know. I haven't done anything though, Ella claimed innocently. With a sigh, Patricia advised. That's exactly why you should go back to work and act normal. Even though Doretta seemed calm on the surface after such an incident, there was no way she could be truly at peace. Therefore, they needed to be even more cautious and composed than Doretta. Seeing Patricia's firm stance, Ella could only sigh and agree. All right then, I'll go back. It's your company after all, Patricia thought to herself with an inward eye roll, reminding him to work as if she were forcing him into servitude. Biting his lip, Ella made a determined request. Patricia, if we succeed this time, could you stay and not go back to Riddle Corporation? Patricia was momentarily stiffened by his unexpected request, realizing that she would soon leave to return to Riddle Corporation. Surprisingly, she felt a tinge of reluctance. Taking a deep breath, Patricia suppressed her feelings of reluctance and responded pragmatically. Once things here are wrapped up, I naturally have to go back. Ella opened his mouth to speak, but eventually looked somewhat dejected as he said, "Oh." Without adding anything more, Ella turned and walked away. Watching his somewhat forlorn figure, Patricia unconsciously bit her lip, feeling a faint ache in her heart. Back in his office, Ella sat down and stared blankly at the documents on his desk. Ella, what's wrong? Doretta's voice rang out. Ella glanced up at her and said, I'm fine. How did you come in? Oh, I knocked, but you didn't answer. I was a bit worried, so I came in, Doretta immediately explained. Is there something you need? Ella asked indifferently. I brought a document for you. Doretta placed the document down. It's somewhat urgent, so it needs your immediate attention. Ella glanced at the document and said, Leave it. I'll let you know when I've reviewed it. Okay, then I'll leave for now. After saying this, Doretta looked at Ella again. Ella, are you sure you're okay? I'm fine, you can go, Ella responded and then picked up the document. Seeing this, Doretta bit her lip and lowered her head as she left. When Ella heard the door close, his grip on the document tightened slightly, and his eyes narrowed a bit. Doretta had already succeeded, and her coming to the office could also be understood as not wanting to expose herself too early. He wondered, but is there really a need for her to continue showing concern for me? Or is she here to monitor me? Indeed, as Patricia had said, they needed to be more composed and not let Doretta detect any flaws. Ella took a deep breath, his gaze fell on the document, and he started immersing himself in work. Regardless, the company's affairs couldn't be neglected. They had to deal with Everett, but the company also needed to continue its operations. At lunchtime, Lulu came to invite Nicole out for a meal. After a busy morning, Their stomachs were growling with hunger. "Nicole, let's go," Lulu called out as she opened the door. "Okay," Nicole agreed, putting down the document she was holding and getting up from her desk. As the two prepared to leave for lunch, they suddenly heard someone calling them. Nicole turned around to see Sean and Steve. "Hey guys, what's up? Going out for lunch?" Sean glanced at Nicole and Lulu. "Yeah, wanna join us?" Nicole asked, noticing they were also planning to grab lunch. "I can't, I need to head home for a bit. Sally has a prenatal checkup this afternoon," Steve replied. "What about you, Sean?" Nicole turned to Sean. "Wait a sec, Jane will be here soon, and we'll all go together," Sean said, looking toward the office direction. Sure enough, Jane was coming their way and soon joined the group. "Jane," Nicole and Lulu greeted. Jane nodded in acknowledgement, standing next to Sean. Sean held her hand and said, "They're also heading out for lunch, let's go together." "Sure," Jane agreed. The group quickly left the company, and after Steve said his goodbyes, he drove off. The others got into a car and headed to a nearby restaurant. Once seated and their orders placed, Nicole asked Sean, "Everything's going smoothly, right?" "All's well," Sean replied, then looked at Jane. Jane added, "Yes, the companies have all resumed operations, and they've shown great interest in the new plans we've recently proposed. Follow-up discussions will be arranged." "You've all been working hard lately," Nicole noted. She was aware that the handling of both significant and minor company matters had been primarily up to Sean, Jane, and Lulu lately. Except for documents requiring her signature, Lulu would not bother her unnecessarily. With Steve needing to care for Sally, Sean's responsibilities had increased significantly, naturally involving Jane in the busyness as well. "You've been working hard too," Lulu said with a smile. "We handle internal matters, and you take care of the external ones." Although Nicole's involvement in company operations had decreased, she was not entirely relaxed and, moreover, had more critical issues to address. "Exactly, our work is routine, but what you're dealing with is much more important," Jane said, looking at Nicole with empathy. After being inexplicably absent for 5 years and now facing so many challenges upon her return, Nicole's situation was indeed pitiable. "Things will conclude soon," Nicole reassured, noticing Jane's concern, with a comforting smile. Jane chuckled softly, shaking her head. Initially wanting to comfort Nicole, she found Nicole comforting her instead. "All right, let's eat." Sean changed the subject. Given the circumstances, all they needed to do was what was expected of them. "Okay." The group enjoyed their meal, engaging in light conversation. Since they were out for a lunch break to relax, they decided to talk about pleasant and uplifting topics. After lunch, they returned to the company. Patricia. Seeing Patricia, Lulu was somewhat surprised. "What brings you back? Wasn't Patricia supposed to be keeping an eye on things at Bay Corp at this time? Could it be?" Lulu's expression turned complex as if she had realized something. It must be Everett making his move. "Let's talk inside," Nicole suggested after glancing at Patricia. "Yes," Patricia agreed, following Nicole into the office with Lulu close behind. "Should we go have a look?" Jane quietly asked Sean. Sean's gaze darkened slightly. "Let's trust Nicole to handle it. We should focus on our tasks." This way, Nicole wouldn't have to be distracted and could concentrate on her own matters. "Understood." Jane acknowledged Sean's intent and left with him. Inside the office, Patricia reported to Nicole, "Everything was quiet this morning, but during lunch, Everett showed up and took Ella away." "He couldn't resist making a move then," Lulu commented with a grimace. "What happened next?" Nicole asked in a serious tone. "I was secretly following them, but I was discovered and had to return here," Patricia continued. "You were discovered? Do they have someone that skilled?" Lulu expressed incredulously. "I've never seen this person before, but they were indeed very capable," Patricia admitted with some frustration. "It was my carelessness," Nicole reassured Patricia, If Everett had been intentionally hiding such a person, it would indeed be difficult for us to detect them. It's likely that Everett brought this person back from San Giotto and kept them hidden, which is why they were unaware of their existence. Ms. Riddle, what concerns me is... Patricia bit her lip, her expression turning grim. Raising an eyebrow slightly, Nicole then said, "You're worried that it's not just one person, but a group." "Yes," Patricia nodded. The possibility that Everett could hide such a person made her suspect there might not be just one. A single individual like this was able to expose and stop her. If there was a group of such people, it would indeed be troublesome. Lulu's reaction was one of dawning realization, and she turned pale. If there really is a group like that, then all our efforts so far might have been in vain. Capturing a few of Everett's people only to find he had more capable ones was indeed frustrating. "Let Charlie investigate," Nicole said, her gaze darkening. Now that someone had shown themselves, there must be a trail to follow. Whether it was one person or a group, there should be traces left behind. Importantly, now that Everett had let this person come forward, he might no longer be planning to hide them. Or perhaps at this point, Everett saw no need to hide them anymore. "Yes, I'll inform him of the situation," Patricia responded. "What do we do now?" Lulu worried. Could Ella be in danger? She thought, with someone so capable standing with Everett, and Ella being taken away alone, could they be planning to harm him? Not for the moment. Patricia shook her head. Currently, Everett doesn't know that the Bay Corp seal he has is fake, so he will definitely threaten Ella. He won't harm Ella before achieving his goal. Considering this, she had returned to report the situation to Nicole. She believed Ella would soon return to the company and start an extensive internal investigation about the seal. This was part of their initial plan. Showing desperation and concern would make Everett believe he had succeeded. Nicole pondered for a moment before saying, "You go back to Bay Corp and work with Ella." "Okay," Patricia agreed. "Everett is so cunning. Please be very careful," Lulu warned Patricia. Feeling a touch of warmth, Patricia replied, "We will." Watching Patricia leave, Lulu sighed. Everett is indeed too cunning. Lulu thought, who would have thought he had such people on his side? If it's really a group, that would be terrifying. Nicole smiled slightly, maintaining her composure. "Our people are not weak either." Patricia was in the open while that person was hidden, which naturally made it easier for them to take action. But don't forget, she also had her own people in the shadows. Lulu furrowed her brows. "Do you think Everett could already know about Zane's people in San Giotto?" Several people were mysteriously captured, and Everett didn't say anything, probably guessing something. Maybe he didn't know at first, but by now he should have guessed, Nicole responded. However, these details were not important. If Zane's people wanted to stay hidden, they wouldn't be easily found. Even if Everett guessed, it wouldn't matter. Without revealing themselves, his people couldn't find them. So now, he can only use Bay Corp as leverage. He will definitely try to take control of Bay Corp. It's just too bad Everett doesn't know the seal is fake yet. Lulu secretly rejoiced, somewhat looking forward to seeing Everett's reaction upon discovering the seal is fake. Nicole's eyes narrowed slightly. Everett wasn't usually this unguarded. It was the recent events that made him lose his composure, giving them an opportunity. It was somewhat surprising to her that Everett still had people in his hand. Nicole smirked slightly. A cold glint flashed in her eyes as she thought to herself, Everett is indeed the most scheming person, always thinking of leaving a way out for himself no matter the situation. Otherwise, the things he did over the years will be enough to keep him in prison for a lifetime. At that moment, in a restaurant near Bay Corp, Everett and Ella sat opposite each other. Ella was eating quietly, while Everett just watched him without saying a word. After noticing Ella had almost finished his meal, Everett finally spoke up. "How are you considering? Are you done eating?" Ella responded with a question instead of an answer. Everett's eyebrows twitched almost imperceptibly, but he nodded. Ella's question was just casual. In fact, Everett hadn't even picked up his chopsticks from the beginning. But Ella didn't care about these details. Since they had finished eating, it was time to leave. Ella stood up. I'm done too, so I'll be going now. I'll give you 3 days to think about it, or you know the consequences, Everett said calmly, without any sign of irritation. After walking a couple of steps, Ella stopped, turned back to Everett, and said, "Oh, and thanks for the lunch." With that, Ella left with long strides. "Sir, do you think he'll agree?" Jerry asked quietly. Ella's calm demeanor seemed almost unbelievable, as if he might be ready to give up. "Whether he agrees or not, it's not his choice to make," Everett snorted coldly. "What about Aquila?" He said Patricia indeed went back to Riddle Corporation to report to Nicole. Someone will likely investigate him soon, so he plans to lay low for a while, Jerry reported accurately. Let him stay hidden for now, Everett nodded. Unless necessary, he wasn't planning to expose Aquila. This time was unavoidable. Jerry's men had been captured, forcing Everett to let Aquila make an appearance. Of course, he had considered that although it was a forced move, it would also draw Nicole's attention, potentially buying some time on Ella's end. By the time Nicole reacted, Bay Corp might already be within his grasp. After leaving the restaurant, Ella glanced back in its direction before getting into his car and driving away. "Mr. Riddle, are you all right?" the assistant asked. Fully fed and watered, nothing happened. Ella leaned back in his seat, a slight smile playing on his lips. The assistant ventured. "He hasn't discovered anything, has he?" "No, it doesn't seem like he's noticed anything yet," Ella confidently stated. "He even warned me as he was leaving, giving me 3 days. 3 days, but what will he do after that?" the assistant inquired. Ella shrugged. "Guess he'll start threatening me then." Everett had only talked about wanting to collaborate this time and hadn't mentioned anything about the seal. Ella could only continue to pretend he didn't know the seal was missing and wait. In 3 days, when Everett shows up with the fake seal, Ella plans to strip him of everything. Time flowed swiftly, and 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Nicole and Jared arrived at the dining room as usual. "Mom, Dad," Nicole greeted before sitting down with Jared. "Daddy, Mommy," Nolan and Lana sweetly called out to the two. Nicole, with eyes full of love, ruffled the little ones' heads. "Let's eat up. After that, Dad and Mommy will take you to kindergarten." Stanley and Tia had planned to take their pre-wedding photos today, so Nicole didn't want to trouble Tia with dropping off the kids. She wanted them to head over early to get ready. "Okay," Nolan and Lana obediently began to eat. "Nicole, has the company been keeping you busy lately?" Gloria asked Nicole. Nicole replied, "It's been okay. Mom, do you ask for a reason?" "Oh, if there's nothing pressing. I was thinking maybe Steve doesn't have to go to the office. Sally's due date is approaching, and I'm worried if she suddenly goes into labor, Steve should be there with her," Gloria explained. "All right, I'll discuss it with Sean and take over all of Steve's work," Nicole agreed. The handover process had already been initiated, and Steve's workload had significantly decreased. His departure now wouldn't pose any problems. That's a relief. Gloria felt somewhat more at ease. Even though they had hired someone to look after Sally, and she would visit, having Steve by her side at this time was preferable. After all, no one could be by Sally's side as constantly and supportively as Steve could. After breakfast, Nicole and Jared said their goodbyes and left with Nolan and Lana. Stanley glanced at the time and stood up. "Dad, Mom, I should be going too." "All right, go ahead," Gloria responded with a smile. After picking up Tia, Stanley also left the Riddle residence for the pre-arranged location to take their pre-wedding photos. Back at home, Gloria breathed a sigh of relief. "Finally, I can relax." With Stanley and Tia's wedding plans set and Sally likely to give birth soon, she was about to become a grandmother. Seeing the children doing well, she could envision a future filled with joy and grandparental bliss. "You won't have to worry about the kids anymore," Daniel glanced at Gloria. "How about we go on a world tour?" "I'm not going," Gloria immediately declined. Daniel was puzzled. Why not? This is not the time for me to go anywhere. Stanley is about to have his wedding, and Sally is about to give birth. Of course, I can't go anywhere, Gloria stated firmly. Daniel couldn't help but laugh. Of course, I know that. What I meant was, after all these events are over, we should go out and relax a bit.
If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.